I guess, the master plan without the Southmore Hills Community Plan on our next May 23rd meeting, correct? That's what you had said, I think.
The general plan, you mean?
The next planning commission, we're going to be...
Commissioner Obama, yes, you'll be seeing some revised alternatives. There will now be two alternatives, neither of which include any growth beyond what we're calling the status quo for Southmore Hills. The Southmore Hills Community Plan is still proceeding forward. It's just going to take a different parallel timing for that plan as opposed to going as part of the general plan update.
I talked to Russ about that in length, so I kind of got a little bit of brief on that. But one of the things I suggested to him, and one of the things I think the public doesn't realize, and also maybe possibly some of our commissioners, is that the status quo is that there's still 900 homes that can be built out there, just based on the 2.5 acres. And there's no preservation for agriculture as we have it in our Southmore Hills Community Plan. So you can just cut up the property into 2.5 acres, and there's nothing there to preserve agriculture, and there's nothing there to actually add any infrastructure for those 900 extra homes for fire safety. And I don't know if you remember correctly, that last fire that I lived through that we tried to evacuate, it was hours to get out of there, and it's pretty scary. So to be able to say status quo is kind of really, it's going to be hard. So we don't want to push the Southmore Hills Community Plan down the road too far. As I told Russ, we don't want to disconnect the caboose, because now we're putting it on the end of the train here, right? And if we disconnect it too far, it means a new EIR, which that could be another expensive thing for the city. So I think we should keep this thing moving. And I know we hear from a lot of the people that have come to the dais that have told us they don't want it. They want to keep it just like it is, which is just what I said, 900 homes, no infrastructure, no preservation for agriculture. But you got to hear tonight from Neil Nagata, one of those few farmers, there's not that many. Out of all the land out there, there's only maybe 10 or 12. I'm not exactly sure how many farmers there are that are commercial farmers that have worked with the city and the neighborhood and the citizens and all the different groups here to come up with this plan. So it's really kind of hard that a few people can voice opinions, and we hear a lot of them, and then we've disconnected that component from our master plan. So I just want to make sure that within that alternative in the statement, and I told Russ the same thing, can you just at least say that it says 900, because I know the city staffs all agreed that 900 homes is 900 homes. It could actually be more. If you divide up 3,500 acres to 2.5, it comes out to more like, I think it's 1,400 or something, but we figure out there's got to be, environmental, there's roads, there's a lot of things, and that's why we narrowed it down to 900. So that should be stated someplace in there so people get it. Because they think it's status quo just means just like it is right now, which I would love it to stay like that, but I'm not a commercial farmer. I can't do that. So
for clarification, Commissioner Obama, clearly status quo just means that we're not going to change, the alternatives that you'll be considering would just mean that no zoning changes for Southmore Hill compared to what the Southmore Hills Community Plan had. So it doesn't mean that there's not going to be growth out there to all those things you mentioned. There won't be provisions for ag preservation under the status quo, so to speak. Status quo may be a bad term to use, maybe just no change in zoning at this point. But again, the Southmore Hills Community Plan is still moving forward under the current framework. We're just analyzing a few more items that a little deeper than were previously analyzed with the previous alternatives that came towards this body.
All right.
I've been part of a lot of environmental impact statements.